Alright, so another video this week from the Brookings Arts Council, and today we're going to talk about stippling and pointillism and like how they're the same and how they're different. So as far as supplies go, I have just white printer paper today on my little clipboard here. I have a pencil, I have an eraser, and maybe most importantly, I have my Crayola markers. I have skinny ones, but if you have the thicker fat ones, they will work just fine as well. So I'm going to go into kind of what the difference is. So pointillism. Pointillism is using paint and making really small dots to make a picture. So not big, huge dots, not medium dots, but like really itty bitty, teeny tiny dots. And typically you can see kind of like the full image, like not photorealistic, but pretty realistic from far away, but up close you can see kind of the small little dots. So similarly, stippling, which is what we're going to do today because we're using markers, is the same kind of deal. So adding really small dots, same deal with that. From far away it looks more realistic than up close, but it's not paint. It's used with markers or pens or pencils. So just a little bit different with like the media and kind of the material you're using to create the picture. So a slight variation, but definitely a distinction to be made. So today we're going to go over stippling, so because we're going to use markers. So you do need markers. Crayons and colored pencils and pens are just going to be like a little difficult for this introductory project, and paint is just kind of messy. So I decided markers were the best route to go. So I have my pencil and my eraser here just to draw kind of like a preliminary picture. So you can do whatever you want. I'm not caught like making you have any specific type of artwork this week. It's more about the kind of technique involved. So I think it's helpful to kind of draw out really lightly so you can erase your lines once you're done. The picture of what you're doing, just so you can kind of keep track of where you're at. I'm just gonna do like a really simple, I think I'm gonna do a cat, or maybe you could do like a tree or a background or a house or whatever it is that you want to do. And so I'm going to take a minute here to draw really lightly with my pencil. Again, you don't want to draw really dark, otherwise you're not going to be able to erase it, and then you're going to kind of, it kind of ruins the picture of what you're doing if you're not able to erase, because you will be able to see the lines. So a cat's kind of difficult, so I think I kind of like the idea of like a tree better, and I think I'm gonna do a Christmas tree just because that's coming up. It's kind of that season, and so I'm gonna draw a really kind of stylized Christmas tree, just really lightly, like I said, just really quick, and then a little trunk down at the bottom, a star on top, and then maybe just some guidelines to show where lights are on the tree. My table is kind of squeaky when I erase. And maybe some Christmas ornaments. Again, really lightly. We don't want really dark lines, otherwise you're not going to be able to erase, and you're going to be really disappointed at the end when you have all these ghost lines. So, okay. I'll show you what we got going here. Maybe one more Christmas. Okay. So I got really light, like you can barely see it light. Christmas tree, star on top. And so that's my guideline. And so next you're gonna take out your markers, and stippling, like I said, is just a collection of really little dots. I'm gonna start with brown. I'm gonna start with the little trunk of the tree here. And you're just gonna do little teeny dots to fill it in. You're not using any lines to trace. Something to remember if you're gonna do any kind of shading is if your dots are closer together, I'll show you, they're gonna look darker. If they're further apart, it's gonna look lighter. So I can show you. Okay, so here I don't have it fully completely done, but it does look darker along that edge and then lighter in the middle, but really it's just because there's more dots. I didn't do any lines, just dots. So closer together, you get a really kind of dark value. Further apart looks lighter because more of the paper is showing. So the same thing with shading, just not using coloring it in. You're not coloring it in, you're not adding lines, none of that. Just a whole bunch of little teeny dots or stipples. So I'm gonna finish up this little trunk and maybe start some of the tree, and then I'll let you guys kind of do your thing. You don't want to sit and watch me do it all day. But I do want to finish one of this little sections here so I can show you like what erasing does. because the brown kind of covers up the lines, but I don't think that the green will. Make sure the caps on my markers are on there nice and tight so that they don't dry out. And I'm gonna do a little bit of the green tree. So we're not outlining, but I am going in with these dots and doing kind of right up to the edge. So not a line, but it almost looks like a line because the dots make your eye. It would be considered an implied line if you want the technical terminology, and that just basically means that there's not physically a line there, but your eye follows the polka dots, and in your brain implies that there is one. Like you still see one even though there isn't. Kind of technical terminology for the day, advanced terminology, but that's okay. Okay, so again, like I said, I'm just kind of adding in where those lines should be. If you look really, really up close, you can still see my pencil lines. I will go through when I'm all the way done, and I will erase them. So again, stippling for today. The technique, you're open to whatever you want to do. If you want to do a Christmas tree like myself, sure, welcome to. If you want to do your little brother or a house or a cat or a dog, whatever you want to do today, but stippling. So that is kind of the main objective for today, the difference between stippling and pointillism. Pointillism is with paint, P for paint. Stippling is with other media, drawing materials, markers, pens, things like that. So that is what I got for you today. I will post a picture of my final one it'll show at the beginning of the video, so you should be able to see what we're working towards. But yeah, if you have questions, concerns, suggestions, you can be directed to the Brookings Arts Council, like either the Facebook page or our email. But as always, hope you enjoyed it and have a good weekend.